Mike, not that you've had a ton of time probably to reflect because it's such a busy period for you, but you're heading into your third year now as GM. How would you summarize your first 2 seasons?
I think it's been, a lot of learning for me. There's been a lot of experience, good and bad. But it's been enjoyable. I got a good staff that's very helpful, and overall, it's I would say I've enjoyed it. It's been challenging, but I've enjoyed it.
Before this season started, I think there was a little bit of hesitation to say the word rebuild. We were calling it a retool or using different, maybe veiled language, and then it became apparent that it's a real rebuild. Did you know that heading into this season?
I would think so. I think when I first got the job, the idea was to kind of see what the group could do. Maybe they had another run in them, but as that season started off not great 2 years ago, and it kind of became apparent we were going to have to make some decisions on Timo and some of the other guys, and then Eric followed in the off season, and once that domino went, I think it kind of felt like this past year was going to be a tough season. But I think it's something we'll kind of learn from and move on from, and some of our young players got good experience from it. It's to go through this experience, I think will help them grow as players and as people. And we kind of lucked out with the lottery, and that's kind of the silver lining of it all.
Okay, well, let's move to that. First of all, I know how excited I was. I know that all Sharks fans, we were all holding our breath. What did you experience leading up to that moment when the ball dropped?
Yeah, I know. It was interesting because no one was moving. As you start from 16 up, everyone's just slotted where they're supposed to be. So once we got into the top 5, started to get a little bit nervous because at some point it's got to change. Something's gonna move and someone's gonna jump. But when they turned over the card and saw the logo, then obviously was thrilled.
I mean, I'm not sure if there's any point thinking of what could have been, but I mean, how much does that change, I guess, the focus of this team if you ended up at number 2 or 3?
I don't know how much it would have changed. Probably changed a little bit just for the fact that of who Macklin is and the type of player in person he is, actually. I think the person he is kind of gets overlooked a little bit. He's someone who can drive your culture and push your teammates and everyone to be better. But if we weren't fortunate, we would have still got a good player at 2, and we're happy with the group of prospects we have coming up. So, but to potentially look down the line and think that you have 4 good young centers with Macklin and Will, then Bystad and Edstrom. It's a pretty cool and a pretty unique to have that depth of young players. So we're excited.
Okay, so safe to say Macklin's going first overall.
Probably safe to say.
Okay.
Scotty told me not to say it, but.
Right, of course. You have to protect extenuating circumstances, but he would look good in a Sharks uniform?
He would look good in a Sharks uniform, yeah.
Okay. You also have the 14th overall pick. You have 4 picks actually in the first 42 selections. What kind of caliber of players can you get in those top rounds?
Yeah, I mean, we're excited about it. Not only to have the first pick, but we think we'll get a really good player at 14. And then, as you saw last year, we were able to get Kasper Halttunen early in the second, and I think everyone's seen the type of year he had. So we think we can get 4, guys that hopefully one day will all be part of our kind of the next core players coming up.
So you mentioned Will Smith. Let's talk about Will. First of all, he's coming here. So, that was another thing that Sharks fans were wondering about. Would he go back for another shot at winning a championship? What got him here?
I think Will had a great year. It's kind of been a whirlwind for him from winning the U18 gold to winning World Junior gold, and then having the season he had at BC and 1 game away from a national championship. So I think what got Will here is he's a super competitive kid. I mean, everyone sees the talent and the skill and the brain, but he might not show it like other people show it, but he's highly competitive, and I think he wants to play against the best players, and I think he believes he's right there with the top players in not only his age, but in the league. So I think that was the main thing. I think he wanted to challenge himself, but from our standpoint, we wanted to make sure he was comfortable, his family was comfortable, everyone was comfortable, and with him and his decision of turning pro.
There's a lot of cap space here come free agency. Obviously, you don't know exactly what the makeup of the team's going to be, but would it be safe to say that a little more veteran presence might be important?
Yeah, no, I think for sure we'll be a young team, but along with the guys I mentioned, we're going to definitely have to bring in a few more veteran pieces to help insulate these guys. Like I said, so these guys, they don't feel like they got the weight of the world on them to produce every single night, and even a little bit of grit and size and toughness to make sure our guys are feeling comfortable to play their game and do the things they need to do on the ice. So yeah, we'll have to add some pieces and find the right guys, and it's going to be a very important summer for us to make sure we get that right and bring the right guys in around for these kids.
So some tough decisions also this off season. You made the choice to let David Quinn go. First of all, how's the coaching search going? What can you tell us?
Yeah, no, it was obviously a tough decision. Quinn and I go back 20-something years. But as far as the search going, yeah, we're still kind of in the middle of the process. Hopefully, the hope is to have someone in place before the draft, and so we can get their input on these free agents and stuff like that. But so far it's been good. The people we've talked to all have interviewed well. The candidates we feel really, really happy with and strongly about, that they'll be able to help nurture our young group.
The future, by all appearances, looks bright. What would you say to the fans in anticipation of next season?
Well, first I'd like to thank them, because I appreciate that they've stuck by us through. It's been two difficult years of not a lot of winning and some tough nights to go through, but the fans have been there for us. So I appreciate that and thank them for that. And I think there's brighter days ahead. There's obviously some excitement, but to stick with us, there's going to be some bumps in the road, and it's not all going to go smoothly, or not going to go all as we envision. It's not going to be just straight rocket ship to the top. There's going to be some bumps along the road, and if they can just stick with us, I think we're headed in the right direction, and there's good things ahead.
Certainly feels like that. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.